So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Now, are y'all ready for the strange, crazy, and mysterious? I got y'all. So this video here, man, is this man's dash cam accidentally revealed that something big is happening right now above the US. All right. So you know we're gonna get into it. If you're new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Join the family. Let's see what's going on. Come on. And of course, no, still haven't gotten a dash cam. Hadn't gotten it. There we go.
Everyone is well aware by now of what's happening around the world. Although some of these events can be unsettling, others have said that during times of hardship, we are sent signs to help us through these difficult moments. Interestingly, just recently, something was seen above Ada County in Table Rock, Idaho. The photograph was taken by the Boise Police Department, who then uploaded it to social media, and it led to some people saying that it was a sign. After the photograph was posted, others then came forward and said that they had seen the same thing, detailing that the object was bright and in the shape of a cross.
I was sitting there, I was like, so is that a cross? I'd have probably dropped to my knees and just started praying, man. Asking for forgiveness, getting right. Like, tell me that wouldn't freak you out seeing that in the sky. And I'm automatically looking at it as, okay, is that a sign? Is that trying to tell me something? Am I the only one I'm looking around to see? Am I the only one that see it? Like, that would have messed me up. That would have messed me up.
Same thing, detailing that the object was bright and in the shape of a cross. Due to the shape of the object, some said that it could have been a sign sent from above. Often when there's conflict, those affected will look to a higher power, praying that a peaceful solution is reached so that no one else will be harmed. Whether there's been a tragedy or general hardship, people will often look up for answers, and during many dark times, people have said that they've seen or encountered things that will give them hope. In the darkness, there's always light somewhere, and it's for this reason that many people never truly feel alone during these dark periods. What's strange is that while looking at these objects, many have reported that they've felt an overwhelming feeling of joy, as if they've been recharged.
I can definitely understand that. You're going through some crazy things in your life and you look up and like, you know those weeks or those times in your life, man, where you feel like nothing is going right for you. Everything is going bad. You keep running into this wall. Everywhere you turn is a dead end. And to one day just be moping about and look up in the sky and see a cross, yeah, that would kind of make me feel a lot better. And I would definitely take it as a positive sign in that regard, for sure.
One user said the following: "I'll tell you this, there aren't too many moments that a picture will stop me in my tracks. This one did. That cross on Table Rock has meant a lot to a lot of people over the years. I know it means a lot to me. I feel lucky to see it every morning as I drive to work on Overland." End quote. While this user said the following: "Some days are tough, and it can be really hard to drag myself out of the house, but seeing the cross above Table Rock really does help me. It gives me a sense that I'm not alone, and there's something bigger than what I'm going through. Many of us who live in this area are aware of the object, and I personally know many people that it's helped out. When you see it for the first time, it really is the most incredible experience. I've had people say to me that it's not real, and my response to that is, how do you explain the feelings I got when I saw this for the first time? The joy, the feeling of hope.
Respect.
Are those feelings also fake?
I respect that.
I can't physically fake the experience I have when seeing the cross." End quote. Another user shared the following story: "My grandfather would wear a cross around his neck, and one particular occasion we were driving through Table Rock. He was a firefighter, and he was telling me about some old stories. One story that he always regrets was when he and his team were attending to a house fire of an elderly couple. The team didn't get there in time, and the elderly woman inhaled a lot of smoke, which caused her health to deteriorate. My grandfather always blamed himself and said that if there were a few minutes early, perhaps the outcome could have been different. Just as he was saying how he felt bad and that it was his fault, this giant cross appeared in the sky as we were driving through Table Rock. I remember that he broke down in tears. He viewed that experience as a higher power, telling him that it wasn't his fault, and the fact it appeared at the sad part of the story makes us think that something was sending him a message. He said that he...
Like, think about this, y'all. Like, this, if it was put there by man, by somebody built that and put that up there, you know what I mean? It's foggy in the photo or whatever, so it could be sitting at the top of a mountain. But just think about this. What if somebody took that and actually did that around the country? Now, don't shoot the messenger, because some people may feel as though it's infringing on other people's religious beliefs. I'm just saying, for those of you who don't feel that way, imagine putting it. Do y'all think that could have effect on like stuff like crime? Like, maybe people will look up and see that and maybe not make certain bad decisions. Not everybody. Some people are going to do what they do regardless. It's just in them to be evil. But some people aren't all the way converted over to that completely, totally evil. And having something like this up, do you think that could possibly change their mind or make them think it's not worth it? And even if it did to a few, it would be worth it to put something like this up? I don't know. I'm just asking. This is really making me think about a lot of things. And hearing him talk about different people's different accounts when they've seen this.
He's never forgotten that experience.
Interesting.
And says that it was one of the greatest things he ever witnessed. He no longer feels bad about the story and understands that some things are out of his control. End quote. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that a strange object in the shape of a cross has been witnessed, and oddly enough, when researching these cases, many of these sightings occur just after something bad has happened. Although we covered the Devon flying cross in a previous video, there appears to be various documented cases of these flying crosses all across the world. One strange sighting was that of the Sussex flying cross. Interestingly enough, this would not be the only sighting of a flying cross made by police officers during this period of time. In fact, less than 24 hours after the Devon flying cross encounter, there would come a follow-up report made on the 25th of October in 1967, which features a group of policemen in 5 different police cars found at different locations across the area of East Sussex, all reporting corroborating stories of a bright flying cross sometime between 4 in the morning to 5 in the morning, similar to the Devon flying cross encounter. According to the police report, the first police car witnessed the Sussex flying cross take shape at around 4:45 in the morning, near Halland, East Sussex. Additional sightings made independently by police officers in different regions would begin to pour in over the course of an hour, before the flying cross would disappear without a trace. Again, the British Ministry of Defence would provide the explanation that the sightings of the flying cross were merely mistaken sightings of Venus in the night sky. The Dorset Coast flying cross encounter. The last known flying cross sighting during that month would be made 24 hours after the East Sussex sighting and 48 hours after the Devon flying cross encounter, and would be referred to as the Dorset Coast flying cross encounter. Unfortunately for the eyewitness, no police officers would come forward to confirm the sighting themselves.
What does that look like to y'all? Does that not look like a certain someone on the cross? What does that look like to y'all right there? That right there would mess me up, bro. Oh, just randomly seeing that with no context.
However, a 50-year-old man by the name of Mr. Angus Brooks, a retired administrator for the British Overseas Airways Corporation for the company's Comet fleet, and an ex-military photographic interpreter, would detail the entire event that took place on the 26th of October of 1967. According to Mr. Angus Brooks, as he was walking on Moyne Down, alongside the Dorset coast, and a mile south of Moyne on the A354, it was around 11:25 in the morning when he noticed a vapour trail in the sky that seemed to vanish without a craft in sight. Shortly after noticing this strange sighting, Mr. Brooks began to feel a force 8 gale, a strong wind that could easily have thrown him about. As he was walking his 2 dogs, he quickly found a small depression to take shelter until the gale would pass. It was at this moment that Mr. Brooks claims he saw a translucent craft that was described as being circular in nature, with a girder at the front of the craft and 3 girders pointing to the rear of the craft. He would provide the following statement to the press following the incident. The shape of the craft prior to levelling out to hover position was of a central circular chamber, estimated to be 25 feet in diameter and 12 feet high, with a leading fuselage in the front and 3 separate fuselages together at the rear. Each of the 4 was 70 feet long, 7 feet high and 8 feet wide. On slowing to hover position, the 2 outer fuselages at the rear moved to the side of the craft to form 4 fuselages at equidistant position around the center chamber. There were no visible power units and no noise of applied power for reverse thrust, movement of fuselages or for hovering. On attaining hover, the craft rotated 90 degrees clockwise and then remained motionless, unaffected by very strong wind. From my position, the craft's construction was of a translucent material. The colour of the craft took on the colour of the sky above it and changed with clouds passing over it. There could have been a clear material at the top of fuselages and centre chamber. There were dark centre shadows along the bases of the fuselages and centre chamber. No movement was observed at any time of the operators, no portholes or crew viewing windscreens at nose of fuselages. The nose cones of the fuselages were the reverse to our conventional types. The groove fins along the bases of the fuselages did not open or close." End quote. It was at this point that the girders of the craft began to reorient themselves into the shape of a cross, surrounding the central disc estimated at being 25 feet in diameter. Less than 25 minutes after this sighting, the craft shot off into the northeast direction and disappeared entirely. Shortly after the incident, Mr. Angus Brooks reported extreme agitation in his dogs over the following days after having spotted the craft together. Less than 2 weeks later, one of his dogs, a large Alsatian, would pass away while under supposedly good health. Due to the mysterious reports surrounding this aircraft, along with the 2 police officers suddenly going quiet, it's caused some researchers to speculate whether the government was aware of this craft and told those who encountered it to be quiet and not talk about it. Although this seems unlikely, various people who've worked for the government have said that they were told not to talk about their sightings.
Really though, does it really seem unlikely? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And do I believe that certain people have been hushed? I do. I really, really do.
Various people who've worked for the government have said that they were told not to talk about their sightings, and that if they did, they would feel the consequences. It's hard to imagine that police officers who often drive around at early hours in the morning would misinterpret the planet Venus. After all, it's visible most evenings, and once pulled over, it's very easy to distinguish a planet with a moving object. It's for this reason that researchers who've looked into the case have said that the event was downplayed, and by suggesting it was a planet, it causes the eyewitnesses to come across as not believable. People across the surrounding areas came out in support of the eyewitnesses and said that they too saw a glowing object in the shape of a cross. Another suggestion was that government officials were well aware of the object but didn't want people talking about it, and so came up with the explanation of it being Venus. This wouldn't be the first time that mysterious aircrafts were spotted above the United Kingdom.
We're slow.
Interestingly, between the 1940s and early 2000s, some of the most well-known sightings made across the United Kingdom would hit major news outlets all across the world. Some eyewitness reports during this time would end up at the centre of investigations surrounding covered-up research by the British Ministry of Defence, whereas other impossible-to-understand sightings would lead to hotspot centres lasting over the course of several decades. Eileen Arnold's altered state. Back in February of 1942, while journeying down the Cheltenham High Street, a woman by the name of Eileen Arnold claimed that she had suddenly felt overwhelmed by a heightened state of altered consciousness. Although she does not go into great detail surrounding the feeling, she claims that she felt as if she had tuned into another reality or parallel world. Fearing that something was wrong, she continued walking down Cheltenham High Street while glancing around in the hopes of finding any noticeable differences between her own reality and this new one that she felt she could see into. It was at this moment that Eileen Arnold claimed a massive oval-shaped flying craft began hovering above the rooftops of the buildings surrounding her, passing over her and flying down the direction of the high street. She described the craft as radiating several different sources of light from dents that wrapped around the side of the craft. Different areas of the craft were equipped with quills that, when detached from the craft, would leave behind bright lights. When questioned about what she experienced, Eileen Arnold believed that the craft had tapped into some psychic connection with her and triggered an altered state of consciousness that would allow her to experience further psychic connections for the rest of her life.
Could that be like in a form of abduction? I know people, and I think the classic abduction is them coming, you beaming you up, you going into a ship, and them doing something to you, and then you may or may not come back. But could it happen to you without you ever even leaving the ground? Like, it doesn't have to be the way, and this is all just, you know what I mean, just talking. But it doesn't have to be the way we've been programmed to think it happens, if it does happen. You could be like her and all of a sudden just walking along, and then all of a sudden you start feeling different. And I tell you what gets me, I know it was in a movie, but it just makes me think, the movie Nope. Them being in the clouds and just using clouds as shields and cover and moving around, it'll really, really make you think, bro. I'm just saying.
As of right now, it's
Just
not
saying.
known what these mysterious objects are. These crosses have been linked to religious experiences, and it's caused some amateur researchers to suggest that people have been seeing them for years now, and they've helped contribute to people's faith. What they are is not entirely understood. Those who've been close to them have said that they are physical crafts, and that they give of a bright light which makes it difficult to see what they are. As of right now, it's not entirely understood where these objects are coming from, but those who've seen them have said that they're definitely not Venus or any other celestial object. These strange aircrafts are still being sighted to this day, with many of them being seen above zones that are engaged in conflict. Soldiers have also come forward and detailed their encounters with them, with one individual saying that their encounter happened back in 2002, describing the object as looking like a bright cross, and saying that it hovered in the sky motionless before making a quick exit. To this day, they're not sure what it was that they had witnessed, but their description is eerily similar to other eyewitnesses. So, what do you make of these interesting discoveries? And have you seen anything similar? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comments section below and help us to grow this community while
I would always try, video's pretty much over. I would always try to look at that as somewhat of some hope. Imagine a soldier out in the battlefield and he, you know what I'm saying? He thinking about giving up. You know what I mean? He's succumbed to the fight. Maybe got some wounds from it. Maybe have been shot or something like that. And he's down. Nobody come from him. He's separated from his group. And he look up and see that and get that hope to keep going. That's the way I would look at this. You know what I mean? Try to take the good from it. It's kind of like when you was in school and you know what I mean? You wouldn't act up when the teacher was in, but as soon as she leave, you probably acted up then. You know what I mean? When that teacher, when that presence wasn't around, you kind of strayed off the path a little bit, right? But when the teacher was around, you was a little bit better. You may have fell a little bit, slipped, but not like when she wasn't around. This cross could be like that, man. Seeing that in the sky is a reminder, man. Keep going. You got this. Keep your faith. Whatever you're thinking about doing wrong or negative or that you know you shouldn't be doing, that's a reminder not to do it. You know what I mean? I would look at it in that sense, man. This could be a blessing more than anything else. So I don't know, man. You know, I don't too much get into the spiritual bag like that, but seeing that would kind of put me in that spiritual bag a little bit. So, but y'all get at me in the comment section though, man, and let me know what you thought of this video. Very, very, very interesting, man. Very, very interesting. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.